Come on, we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Donald Trump remains defiant in his decision to pull US troops out of Syria, but he has been met with quite a bit of criticism from the right, from conservatives who have actually been staunch supporters of his. Now, before we get to the critics, I want to show you a video that Trump released on Twitter showing his rationale for pulling troops out of Syria.
Now we've won. It's time to come back. They're getting ready. You're going to see them soon. These are great American heroes. These are great heroes of the world because they fought for us, but they've killed ISIS, who hurts the world. And we're proud to have done it. And I'll tell you, they're up there looking down on us. And there is nobody happier or more proud of their families to put them in a position where they've done such good for so many people. So our boys, our young women, our men, they're all coming back, and they're coming back now. We won, and that's the way we want it, and that's the way they want it.
Can I just say, I'm sorry, that is just gross, man.
It really is.
Yeah, so I agree with him that we should leave Syria, but he can't help himself. He's got to find a way to screw it up. I thought when he was out there that, hey, they're gonna have a prepared statement because you're not on television, nobody's questioning you. You can say anything you want. Just take a minute to write something down because this is a super important policy decision and that you're springing on everybody out of nowhere, kind of out of nowhere. That's not entirely fair. I'll get to the details in a second, but it was certainly abruptly. And he didn't write it down. No, in the middle, he started saying they're happy and they're proud and with something. And I was like,
he can't help himself. He kind of starts going off track and he starts rambling and saying things that don't really make much sense.
Do a second take, brother. Do a second take. You're not live, right? He just rambles in a way that's totally incoherent. And then he says, oh yeah, they are in favor of this decision. How the hell would you know if they're in favor of the decision? Look, I can't stand it when the right wing uses our soldiers, and certainly ones that have passed away in war as a gimmick. I can't stand it. But I also don't want to say that somehow dead soldiers are on our side. We have no idea whose side they're on. You don't speak for them. And to say that they're on Trump's side, I mean, come on, man. It just have some little bit of decency. And I know it's too hard for you.
Now, following his decision and his defiance to pull troops out of Syria, a number of congressional Republicans have been speaking out. And one of those Republicans is Representative Adam Kinzinger, who's from Illinois. And he made his rounds, he made his media rounds, but we're gonna give you one of the videos where he makes his case for why we should not pull troops out of Syria. Take a look.
That video is very disturbing. I've got to be honest with you. I wear on my wrist a buddy of mine that I flew with in Iraq back in 2008 that was actually killed in 2018 in Operation Inherent Resolve. For the president to point to the sky and say they want this, inferring those that have fallen, the president can't speak for fallen American soldiers. I'm not sure the fallen American soldiers want us to declare victory against a foe we haven't fully defeated yet. That's disappointing.
I will say that Trump's video was very Bush-esque in the mission accomplished message that he's trying to get across. So look, we're not experts on the ground in Syria. So I am skeptical of numbers that are given to us by the Pentagon or by the Defense Department or by the State Department. They give us different numbers. So the Trump administration argues that there are about 2,000 ISIS fighters left in Syria, that we have them cornered and that they're pretty much defeated. Then you hear from the Defense Department and they argue there's 30,000 ISIS fighters in
Syria
and Iraq. Yes. Now they want to inflate the numbers, so I don't really trust them because look, it's a money-making scheme. We all know that. But with that said, I mean, it does feel a little strange to keep hearing this mission accomplished messaging from Trump.
Yeah, so on Kinzinger, I'm also gonna give you context that you're not gonna get anywhere else. He's a Republican from Illinois. The Republicans just lost 40 House seats. He's been all over television over and over again going, I don't agree with Trump, I don't agree with Trump. That's him basically saying, please don't vote me out next time. Please don't vote me out next time. The rats are beginning to leave the ship.
They are.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you another example of him leaving the ship. This is where he puts Trump on blast in regard to a recent weapons deal. Take a look.
Turkey doesn't like the Kurds. The president, from what we understand, had a conversation with Mr. Erdogan of Turkey, and then the president immediately said, we're getting out of Syria. What does that mean for the Kurds? I think it means some really bad things. If I'm the Kurds right now, or if I'm any future group that's looking to work with the United States or ally with the United States, I'm going to point to this and say, see, once again, you didn't keep your word. I fully believe in the power of the president, whether it was Obama or President Trump, to lead foreign policy, but I also believe in the right and responsibility of members of Congress to call out really dumb moves.
Yeah, notice how Congress never calls out dumb moves against war, right? They only call out dumb moves in favor of war. So they keep constantly supporting war, more war. Either the executive branch does it, or Congress does it, or they both do it. Anyway, on the other hand, I want to be clear. Again, you can do two things at once. And so I think that the Kurdish position could be precarious. I think we should be extraordinarily careful about that. If we made promises to the Kurds and now we are not delivering on them, first of all, that would be Trump 101. But that is not what America should do. So that doesn't mean that we should stay in Syria forever because we made promises to some fighters that we worked with. There is a way that you could actually, if you were a thoughtful person, thread that needle. You could find a way to support those folks without keeping permanent ground troops in Syria. So now the neocons and the defense industry want to stay forever. That's their black and white issue. Trump wants to leave immediately without putting any thought into it. The correct answer is yes, we should definitely leave, but we should be very careful in how we leave, including making sure that we support the Kurds who supported us.
Now, we have another Republican lawmaker who has been harshly criticizing Trump over this move, Senator Lindsey Graham. Again, another staunch Trump supporter, but also a war hawk. So here's what he had to say.
To those who say we have defeated ISIS in Syria, that is an inaccurate statement. They have been hurt, they have been degraded, and I give the president all the credit in the world for changing our policies regarding the fight against ISIS, but I will not buy into the narrative that they have been defeated in Syria, Iraq, and I just got back from Afghanistan, haven't slept in 2 days, really appreciate the chance to go visit our troops and talk to our generals, but they sure as hell ISIS-K is not defeated in Afghanistan. So, to say they're defeated is an overstatement and is fake news.
Oh, but we're not having a conversation about Afghanistan. We're having a conversation about Syria, and he keeps saying that ISIS has not been defeated. Okay, show us the evidence, right? Like these conversations happen all the time, but no one ever shows you evidence.
Yeah, no, I can't stand the neoconservatives like Lindsey Graham. Out of all of the terrible players in this, there are no winners here, right? Lindsey Graham might be the worst in this on this issue. He's a war hawk, never met a war he didn't want to make love to. And Afghanistan, we've been there 17 years. Remember why we went in? Afghanistan doesn't. They did a poll. Over 90% of Afghans had not even heard of 9/11. They have no idea why America's there. No idea. They're like, we fight them because they're here. We fought the Russians because they were here. We fought the Persians when they were here. People keep invading and we keep fighting them. It's been 17 years. First it was the Taliban and Al Qaeda, now it's ISIS, and later it'll be BISIS, and it'll be something, and then it'll be Al Qaeda, and they'll just keep inventing stuff so that Lindsey Graham can keep getting campaign contributions from Raytheon and Lockheed Martin and Boeing and all those companies, and they keep making billions and trillions of dollars off of our, by the way, not only our treasury, but our soldiers that keep dying there for no reason.
Exactly. And the criticism goes on and on. Marco Rubio had some harsh words for Trump. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida called it a terrible decision. And outgoing Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Corker called it in many ways even worse than the withdrawal from Iraq by Trump's predecessor.
Yeah, so a lot of these folks, including Lindsey Graham, said that we have to hold the White House accountable. So wait, half a dozen violations of the law. All the people that have were national security advisor and campaign manager, et cetera, going to prison or have pled guilty. The list goes on and on. Fake charity, fake university. I mean, the emoluments clause. I got literally half a dozen clear felonies that the president. There's excellent evidence that the president has committed, let alone the campaign finance violations, which is 100% certain, right? Should not be held accountable for those.
Well, I mean,
Lindsey Graham said, lying about sex, that's not something that's impeachable, even though he was one of the House prosecutors that tried to impeach Clinton for lying about sex, right? But you touch his war machine, he's like, we have to hold him accountable. We have to hold him accountable, okay?
I know, Cenk, but what do Republicans get for holding Trump accountable when he's breaking laws? They don't get anything out of that. In fact, that hurts the Republican Party because they lose power. It all goes back to profits and power. That is the motivating factor, the vast majority of our politicians, and that's the real issue here. So I'm very curious what Lindsey Graham would really think if we didn't have a corrupt political system, if we didn't have money in politics, if weapons and military contractors weren't his top donors. How would he feel about withdrawing our soldiers from Syria?
I guess we'll never know. Probably he wouldn't have been a senator. The people of South Carolina would have picked someone to represent them instead of Lockheed Martin. But instead, in the corrupt system that we have, they get him funnel millions of dollars to Lindsey Graham so he can go and do exactly what he's doing now. How dare you? We will never withdraw from anywhere as long as defense contractors have $1 extra to make.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.